Today, we're diving into the personal account of a man who experienced three incredibly strange events back in the 1970s. And these are the kind of stories that stick with you, because for decades, he's never found a single logical explanation for what happened.
Right off the bat, this quote from the man himself sets the stage, and it is a chilling one. I mean, what a way to begin. That's a huge claim, and believe it or not, it's just the start of the strange encounters we're about to get into.
All right, so to really get what's going on here, we got to set the scene. We're in the 1970s, and our narrator is a young guy who's part of the Unification Church. His life pretty much revolves around fundraising and spreading the word, a life that was about to be completely upended by things that were, well, truly inexplicable.
So, let's open up the first case file. This is the one he calls the unseen force, and this is where the real mystery kicks off.
Okay, picture this. The year is 1974. We're in a Unification Church center in Cardiff, Wales. Our narrator has only been with the church for about 2 months at this point.
You know, the weirdest things always seem to start in the most normal ways, right? It's 1 in the morning, he wakes up, he's thirsty, so he heads downstairs for a glass of water. It's something we've all done a million times. But as he walks into the living room, bam! Something hits him. A massive, violent blow from behind, completely out of the blue.
This thing, whatever it was powerful. It throws him to the ground so hard he hits his head on a chair. But here's the really crucial part. It wasn't just a physical attack. He said he felt a terrifying presence in the room with him. He was physically assaulted by something he could not see.
And this wasn't just something happening in his head. His cries brought 2 other people running, the center's leader, a woman named Marjorie Hill, and a PhD student, Louis Rayapin. They found him right there on the floor, obviously terrified, trying to explain what had just happened to him.
Okay, so let's move on to our second case file. If that first story gave you chills, hold on. We're kind of shifting gears here, moving from a pretty scary spiritual encounter to something that feels, well, almost like a miracle.
So, fast forward 2 years, we're in London now. It's 1976. Our narrator is still out there fundraising for the church, which means he's selling flowers in offices and shops all day.
On this one day, he's having a pretty good run, selling a bunch of flowers in this big office building. But then, a pretty big janitor comes over. He is not happy and tells him to get out immediately. So he leaves. But after a few minutes, he decides to press his luck and sneak back inside to sell off the rest of his flowers.
Yeah, that was not a good move. As he's trying to get out, he's cornered by not 1, but 2 very angry, very muscular janitors, and they're blocking his only way out. The situation goes from 0 to 100 real fast.
I mean, you can just imagine the fear. He was completely trapped and he was being threatened. As he put it, he literally flinched and braced himself for a beating. He genuinely believed he was about to be seriously hurt.
And then, just like that, at that exact moment of terror, 2 London police constables suddenly appear inside the building. They run right over, get between him and the janitors, and then quickly escort him outside to safety.
But here's where it gets really, really weird. He's outside, he's safe, and he turns around to thank the officers who just saved him, and they're just gone. Not walking down the hall, not getting in a car, vanished. It was as if they materialized out of thin air just to help him, and then just disappeared.
All right, that brings us to our final case, and honestly, this one might be the most unsettling of all. We're moving away from clear physical events and into something much more psychological, something you feel deep in your bones.
So, let's jump forward another 2 years. It's 1978. He's fundraising again, but this time he's in a town in England called Shrewsbury.
From the second he got there, something just felt off, deeply wrong. The town looked perfectly normal, but he was just hit with this overwhelming wave of, in his words, extreme anxiety and uneasiness. He said the feeling was completely off the charts.
He just couldn't shake this feeling, this deep sense that something absolutely horrible had happened right where he was standing a long, long time ago. He didn't know anything about the town's history, but the feeling was so powerful that later on he had to go do some research. He had to know what was wrong with Shrewsbury.
And this is what he found. The Battle of Shrewsbury. A brutal, incredibly bloody clash that took place over 500 years earlier, way back in 1403. It was a massive battle that basically cemented the king's rule, but it came at a terrible, terrible cost. And the scale of that cost is just staggering. Estimates say that as many as 6,000 soldiers were killed in a single day. Just imagine that level of violence and death, all concentrated in that one small place.
Okay, so we've got these three totally bizarre, completely separate events. What do we do with all this? Can you even begin to piece together an explanation for any of it?
I mean, when you lay them all out side by side like this, you really see how wild this journey is. First, you've got this violent, invisible attacker in Cardiff. Then, these phantom police officers who show up just in time in London. And finally, this emotional echo of a 500-year-old battle in Shrewsbury.
And what's so important here is that the guy who lived through all this, he doesn't pretend to have the answers. He doesn't say it was definitely a ghost or it was definitely angels. He just presents his experiences and leaves us with that haunting question. Could that horrible battle really be the source of what he felt that day?
And that's really what it all comes down to, isn't it? His story forces us to ask ourselves a pretty profound question. Are there moments in our lives, experiences we have, that just don't fit into a neat little box? Are some things just not for us to understand?